Hi, I'm Liz from the Beths, and I'm here to talk about our song Mars, the God of War on Breaking It Down.
I could wish you well, I wish that I could wish you well. Instead, I'm hitting my head and hitting backspace on Can't You Discover
Me,
Now?
I'm Elizabeth Stokes, and I sing and play guitar in the Beths, and we have Jonathan Pierce plays, I guess, lead guitar, but also sings backing vocals. Everybody sings backing vocals. Jonathan also records us as well, so it's an important part of the band. Benjamin Sinclair is the bass player, and he also sings backing vocals. And Tristan Deck is the drummer and also sings backing vocals. Yeah, we have all known each other for a long time. I met Ben through that kind of scene of like playing with other like high school or like early university age bands, and met him through that kind of music scene, and we all actually studied music together at Auckland University, studied jazz, and that's where we met Tristan, who wasn't drumming in the band then, but he started drumming for us about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago maybe, and that's been really great. So we all just know each other from way back and have all played in many, many different projects together. Yeah, so I am the songwriter principally for the Beths, and the way that it usually works is I'll kind of send out like a janky kind of demo that I make on Reaper, and then we'll kind of arrange it as a group together. Reaper's like it's like free Pro Tools. But IMO is better. I have never used Pro Tools. I like that it's free and that it's kind of open source, and so it's quite easy to use. It's like, try Reaper. It's free. So generally people will write their own part, but we will write it in the room together, jamming, and so it's I will sometimes have like slightly more of a vision for the song, or like I might have like a particular feel in mind, or a particular lead line that I've written, or things like that. But usually it's just experimenting. We'll just like jam the song and kind of like work out what the shape that we kind of want. I think it is scary to kind of take a very like a fledgling song that might just be like, you know, some lyrics and some chords or something like that, to I'm making something good, but don't spend too long and like keep it close to your chest for too long, I think, because it sometimes it becomes really scary, really scary the longer you wait, I think. But my message is also to the people who are, if you're showing it to a group of people, I would hope that they are being encouraging, especially if you're young. Like I feel like it you know, when you're young, it's not the time to be like shooting other people down. I started writing Mars, the God of War, I think it was 2018, and it was like after we'd done our very first big tour across the States and Europe, and we finished the tour in Spain, I think, and it was like 6 weeks until the next tour started in, I think, maybe in the States, and it was kind of like too expensive to fly home, so we'll just wait here in this tiny very cheap place. And I remember just like kind of staying up until the very early hours of the morning because it was so hot, and I also just remember Mars being really bright in the sky for whatever reason. It was some kind of, sometimes Mars is really red and really bright, and I was, I think, doing all of my communicating through the computer, which is like the way that you do it now, and I think I was just thinking about, I think I was having to have like kind of an interaction, and like an angry or like upset interaction with somebody, and just thinking about the way that we communicate, and how it can do kind of strange things where it can be that you are reining yourself in again and again and just like writing something and then reversing it and just toning it down and toning it down and toning it down. Or alternatively, like the communication you do with technology can be totally ramped up to the point where you'll say things to people that you would never ever say if you saw them in real life to their face. Yeah, I think just having that kind of the imagery of war and then having Mars being really bright in the sky just all kind of coalesced into the kind of first lines of the song, which is like, Mars, the god of war, is watching over me while I make war on this war machine, or something like that. So that song's quite specific. I feel like not all my songs like manifest so specifically, but I think that song was a particular product of a particular moment for me. It was just kind of fragments until we got home for a period of time between tours, and I was able to like do some demoing, and I think I remember bringing it to the band and we kind of jammed it, and we actually managed to play it a couple of times towards the end of last year before recording it, which we didn't get to do for all the songs, and it changed quite a lot. It changed obviously from going from demo to song that we played live, and then this is why it's so fun to play things live before you record them, which we didn't get to do for every song on the most recent album. But you can kind of feel what's working with the group and you can feel what's working live. And there were some things about the verses that weren't working, some of the lines that I'd written through them. And so we ended up changing the verses so that they're a lot more sparse. So yeah, the intro chords are the same as the chorus. And Jonathan came up with his part, which I can't play, but it's the kind of like and we all like to write parts that are not complicated, but just challenging. Like that's part of the kind of fun for us of being in this band, is that none of us except for Tristan are playing our like main instrument, and we're all singing, and none of us are like singers, you know, and so it constantly feels like you're trying to like sing like a complicated line, and I feel like I'm always like playing just at the edge of what I'm able to play, and that's really fun. It kind of, especially with a fast song, it feels like a real challenge. It feels like when you finish a song, especially this one as well, it's quite short, and it just when you finish it, it feels like you've just done a very complicated dance or something. What is it? I wish that I could wish you well. I worried that it was going to be kind of too low, like it's not a belty, it's not like a big up chorus, but I guess it ends up feeling that way because the verses are kind of quite muted and almost dark. As dark as the Beths get, we don't get very dark. But yeah, there was something about when I demoed it, I was like, this shouldn't be kind of like a necessarily a good chorus because it's quite short. There's not as much like repetition, or like there's not as many words as I normally like, but it kind of felt right. So the bridge, again, sometimes the song needs a bridge. Bridges are hard. But yeah, I think with the song The Bridge, I was bringing it back to kind of Mars, the planet, and of just like it being there and like taunting me by being the god of war, but just being super chill in the sky.
Position changing, never engaging. It's not just the dawn that's breaking. And I'll keep hating the red star fading. It's not just the dawn that's breaking. It's not just the dawn that breaks. Yeah, so Jonathan engineers and mixes and records us. And yeah, so Jonathan has a little like project studio on K Road that we just rent. We did it up earlier in the year. It was divided into like 4 very small rooms, which is how we like recorded the first record, was in these like tiny rooms. But we just like in April last year DIY'd, like demoed all the walls, and then like we'll all like put up jib board and then painted it, and had like a nice space where we could all play together like comfortably, and that's how we recorded, was kind of like how we rehearse, but then we just kind of, once the song was feeling good, then we kind of would hit record. And then obviously we would like overdub things, and if guitar parts weren't sounding so good, we'd overdub them. If we overdub all the vocals. I ended up engineering the vocals this time, just because because it was like fun for me to kind of develop that skill, and also just because Jonathan was run off his feet trying to edit everything and then mix it, and so I was recording the backing vocals and editing them down, and recording my own vocals and editing those as well. So production and pre-production is mostly in the arranging phase, where we're everyone's figuring out their parts. If the song feels like it needs something, we try to do that in the arrangement of the song, in the way that we play it. If it needs to get bigger, if it needs to get smaller, we try to get most of that in the playing, so that you're not trying to solve too many problems later on. I wish that I could wish you well, I wish that I could wish you well. Instead I'm hitting my head and hitting backspace on, can't you just go to hell? Yeah, I think we were really skeptical about it all the way through. Even post-release, like it wasn't a single until we released the album, and then I don't know, enough people kind of liked it that we were like, well, let's make a video for this one and see if I don't know, if radio will play it in like BBC6 or in Australia or something like that. It just seemed to be one that people liked, which is nice. We shot a video for it, and then so we had like a release day, and we released it with some PR, put it out. There's like a lot of promotion going into it, like, you know, if you're going to release something, it's good to have, you know, some interviews around it or some kind of features. Yeah, the way we release stuff now is totally different, just because now we are a bit more established. We're on a second album. And like I say, we have a team. We've been touring internationally for a while, so it's the process is very different from when, say, we released our first EP in New Zealand, and it was just, that was even quite unusual. I think back then I would usually email all the university stations. RNZ is really great if they like your kind of music, and then there's also, yeah, like I said, all the university stations, they're always really great. You've got your like New Zealand Music Press. New Zealand's quite small, and if you email somebody, you might not get a response, but like you might, and you get rejected a lot, I think. And I think that's just, you just have to kind of bite the bullet. It's horrible. I've sent a lot of emails that have not been replied to in my life, particularly at that point in the band, for like booking shows or like booking tours and things like that. You just you send a lot of unanswered emails. But so we've got a team now, which means that I don't have to do everything myself, which is what like I used to do, which I feel like I'm going to go ahead and say, do as much of the stuff that you can by yourself for as long as you can, and don't just work with anyone who says they want to work with you. I think my message is just like, there is a balance of like, always try to be making something good, but I think don't spend too long on one thing trying to make it good, because I think you have to make a lot of things to kind of like, to get good at something. I think it's like practice makes perfect. I could wish you well.